Hello yogis, I'm Sonia and welcome to Power Yoga. Let's begin in Child's Pose, Balasana. Knees wide, big toes touching, sitting back on our heels, arms extended out in front of us. And bring awareness to your breath. And we'll make this an active child's pose, walking the hands to either side to stretch the side body. And with this power yoga, we want to embody the essence of Rajas, one of the three gunas or energies of the universe that helps to motivate our spirit to rise above challenges. So ask yourself now, what is your intention for this class? Is it to be like the lotus, growing out of the mud, transcending darkness to bloom with radiant energy? Are you looking to tap into your inner power, your inner fire, your drive, your passion? Start to move your hips back and forth in gentle circles to awaken the lower spine. And at any point, if you need a rest or a water break, feel free to pause the video and listen to your body. And reverse direction. You can also pause on all fours, rolling in gentle circles from cat pose to cow pose, arching the spine, rounding the spine, synchronizing it with your breath. Allow the body to move intuitively, whatever feels natural. There's no right or wrong. Step both legs back for our first plank pose, Balakasana. Move your shoulder blades away from one another, pushing into the ground, stacking the shoulders above the wrists, and keeping your hips in line with the rest of your body. Chaturanga, roll forward slightly, then bend your elbows near your ribs, lowering halfway. Find cobra or upward facing dog, peeling the chest up as high as you wish. Then roll over the toes, lifting the hips high for downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Spread your fingers wide and lengthen the spine by lifting the tailbone up. Your heels are reaching towards the mat. On your next breath in, walk your feet up towards your hands and lift your chest halfway. Then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Now shift your weight onto your left foot and bring your right knee in towards your chest, holding this balance pose. And when you're ready, step the right foot back on the ball of your foot. Heel is lifted for high lunge, Alanasana. Clasp your fingers behind you to open the chest and shoulders. Use a strap or blanket if needed. When you're ready, bow forward over the front leg, letting your head drop for humble warrior. Be sure that the knee is directly above the ankle. With control, bend your elbows, unclasp your fingers and bring your hands to the mat. Drop the back knee and lift your arms overhead for low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Flowing into half split, drop the hands to the mat, shift the hips back, extending the front leg straight, flexing that foot and falling over the thigh. On your next inhale, return to low lunge and step back into plank. Exhale, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest, upward facing dog. Exhale, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. The chest reaches towards the thighs. Then on your next inhale, walk the feet up towards the hands and lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Shift your weight over to your right foot now and bring your left knee in towards your chest. When you're ready, step that left foot back into a high lunge, clasping your fingers behind you, opposite pinky on top this time. Keeping the front knee in line with the ankle, begin to lower down over the thigh, dropping the head towards the foot and opening the shoulders. Humble warrior, Baddha Virabhadrasana. Gently unclasp fingers, lowering hands to mat, dropping the back knee and lifting the chest and arms for low lunge. Be sure the hips are squared to the top of your mat. Transitioning to half split, lower the arms and straighten the front leg. You can keep the knee bent in order to target that middle portion of your hamstring behind your thigh. Let's flow it out, Vinyasa. Shift forward to step back in plank. Chaturanga can always keep the knees on the mat. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. On your next breath in, walk your feet up towards your hands and lift halfway. Then lower for a forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing and hands to heart center. Shifting weight onto the left foot, begin to raise your right foot, extending it straight out in front of you, holding onto your shin or the big toe with your 2 fingers. Be sure to breathe, find your focus, release that foot and step it back into high lunge, clasping your fingers behind you, alternating the pinky on top. Release your hands, bring them palms together at heart center. We'll move into prayer twist, lowering the opposite elbow on the outside of the left knee, twisting to the left hand side. Press your hands together and always listen to your body so that you feel safe in this pose. Begin to lower the back knee to the mat. And then untwist, finding a neutral spine, briefly opening up the chest for low lunge. Then dropping the hands, shifting the hips back for half split. Moving the hips forward to bend that front knee, begin to swing the left leg behind you for tiger pose, Vyagrasana, grabbing onto the foot with your right hand, so opposite hand to foot, pressing hand and foot into one another to lift upwards. Release the right hand and grab the same foot with your left hand now. We're playing around with balance and flexibility. Don't worry if you fall out of this pose, it is a tricky one. All right, release the leg. With control, we're gonna bring that foot in front of and around our right leg, crossing it over, and then sitting the hips back, further adding mobility to the hip joints. Uncross the legs, first finding tabletop, and then downward facing dog. Breathe in deeply here, and breathe out to relax your neck and your shoulders. When you're ready, walk your feet up to your hands and lift halfway, then lower forward fold. Rise up to standing, lower your hands to heart center. Shifting your weight onto your right foot now, we're going to extend our left foot out straight in front of us, holding onto the shin or big toe. Find strength in that standing leg and keep your spine long. Release the leg, step it back, high lunge. Clasp your fingers behind you, opposite pinky on top. Open the chest up towards the sky. Bring your hands to prayer at the center of your chest. Lower slightly and twist over to the right hand side, hooking opposite elbow over the right knee, lengthening from the spine, and then lower the back knee towards the mat. Come to neutral spine, set your hands down, and move into half split. And shift forward to swing the right leg back and up, grabbing opposite hand to foot. Your gaze can be forward or down as you expand your body and lengthen it in both directions. And switch hands. Lower both hands to the mat, cross the right leg in front of and around the left leg, sitting the hips back as far as you can, or in circles, providing a deep stretch in the glutes and the IT band. Uncross your legs, find tabletop, keeping the knees on the mat, and then walk forward, lowering all the way onto your belly. We're going to keep our hips lower on the mat and lift up into a cobra as high as you wish by moving your hands forward or closer to your body, bending the knees behind you and trying to reach the top of your head towards the soles of your feet. Take rest here as needed. A good way to know that you are in a safe position is if you can still breathe comfortably within the pose. Let's go for bow pose now, Dhanurasana. Keeping the belly on the mat, bend the knees and reach for both ankles behind you, kicking your feet into your hands to lift your chest. And lower down. Rest the side of your face on your hands or the mat. We'll take a moment here to reconnect with our breath. Feel into our body, see how we're doing. And if you're ready, we'll begin to press our hips back and sit next to our feet, bringing our legs out in front of us. This posture is boat pose, Navasana. Balancing on our sits bones, we'll keep our legs lifted, shins parallel to the mat or straight, with arms out in front of us. You can also hold behind your thighs or keep your hands on the mat. And we'll release, hugging the knees. Return to this position once more, keeping the knees bent this time and rowing your boat, moving opposite elbow to opposite knee. Find mind-muscle connection with your core by squeezing your abs, bringing your awareness to that area, maintaining this V shape. I know it burns, you're doing so great. We can relax now and give yourself a big hug because that was awesome. All right, invite your body to explore a seated figure 4. Cross the left foot over and place it underneath the right knee, keeping that foot flexed. Maintaining a straight spine, lift your chest towards your shin as close as you wish. If you want to add a little more to this, lengthen from the spine, twist over to the right hand side and stretch your left arm across that lifted foot. This is a great preparation stretch for grasshopper pose, which is an optional posture that we will be trying later on. Return to center. We'll straighten the right leg and let the left foot naturally fall on the mat in front of the knee, then twisting over to the right hand side, arms in chaturanga next to our ribs. We're going to lower the chest and see if we can lift that right leg. Now that's okay if your foot or part of your leg is still on the mat. We're just going to engage our core here. Find your breath as we softly transition to the other side, keeping the left knee bent and crossing the right foot over underneath the knee, flexing the foot and opening the hip for figure 4. I like to sway my hips side to side, just to add a little bit of mobility work to my hips. Feel free to explore the variation within this pose, twisting from the upper back and chest towards the left-hand side of the room, using your left hand to straighten your spine by pressing into the floor near your low back. Release the twist, Keep the legs in the same position, straightening the left leg to the floor, dropping the right foot on the mat. Placing the hands on the ground, see if we can use our core and upper body to lift the left leg. Now we will ease into a stretch that elongates the whole side portion of our back. I like to sit on a block, extend my left foot wide, grab onto the right ankle with my left hand, and then reach over towards the toes. You may use a yoga strap here or rest your hand on your shin. Gently release and transition over to the other side. Slowly lift yourself upwards. Drop that left knee to the side, bend the right knee. Place your hands out in front of you, and then we're going to step our feet pointed 45 degrees outwards, a little bit wider than hips width apart, sinking into Malasana squat. You can lift your heels onto a blanket, that helps with alignment. Otherwise, you want to raise your pelvic floor and lift the chest, using the elbows to push the knees outward. Now try this if it's safe within your knees. Lift up slightly and drop one knee towards the mat at a time. Engage your core to keep yourself lifted and stable. Option to place the left hand on the mat in front of you and twist the right arm up to the sky. Or if you're able to, go for a bind. Find your variation on the other side and connect once again with your breathing. Place your hands on the mat in front of you, straighten the legs and shake it out. Next is Bird of Paradise. From this half-standing position with knees bent, we'll find a bind around the right thigh. Lift all the way up to standing, and then begin to straighten the right leg as much as possible. Focusing on balance, finding your drishti, point of focus. And it's okay if you wobble. That is the body finding equilibrium. We'll lower back down, shake it out, and begin to move over to the other side. Lower the left foot towards the mat, resting in a forward fold for a brief moment. Then walk your hands forward, stepping the feet back for plank, chaturanga, and upward facing dog. Tucking the back toes and lifting the hips, downward facing dog. From here, we'll flow into various crow pose variations, Bakasana. If you are going for grasshopper later on, I suggest side crow. Otherwise, you can try the classic crow pose or baby crow. If crow is new to you, work with a pose that you're familiar with during this time. All right, for side crow, you can place a pillow on the mat for ease of mind. Sitting in a low squat with heels lifted, I'm twisting my torso, placing the left elbow on the outside of the right knee, palm on mat. The right hand is on the mat, shoulder width apart, and then the outer hip is resting on that elbow. Beginning to shift my weight forward until both feet can come off the mat. When you have mastered side crow on both sides, you can be ready to try grasshopper, Parshva Bhuja Dandasana. Using blocks, I'm sitting in a low squat solely on the right foot and crossing the left foot over underneath the knee. Twist the torso over to the right hand side, placing both hands on the mat. The right elbow is under the hip and the left elbow is under the sole of the left foot. We will be doing the same thing as in side crow, shifting our weight forward, lifting the hips slightly, finding a point of balance, strength, and ease, until we are able to raise the right foot. And then lower down, uncross your legs, and move on to the other side. With consistent practice, you'll be able to master these poses, and it's all about the journey. That is the most fun thing about yoga, is that we can continue to evolve and try different variations. Guide your body back to neutral. We'll settle onto our belly and lower down to find Sphinx pose. Settle your forearms on the mat to lift the chest slightly, while elbows remain below the shoulders. And while you're here, I just want you to feel the power that is circulating through you, dormant or beginning to awaken. Yoga is powerful. We are putting ourselves in all sorts of positions, exploring new things, overcoming fears. Slide your arms forward to lower your chest, resting your head on your arm and beginning to roll over onto your back. This is our final resting pose, Shavasana. Lay your hands by your side or on your belly or your chest. Let your feet fall wide, your body lay heavy. Close your eyes and surrender to stillness. Let all of that strength that you just cultivated integrate into your body. You are stronger than you were 25 minutes ago. No matter how the class went, you showed up and you are here, and that is power. Begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers, waking up your body, bringing knees to chest and swaying side to side, a little massage for the low back. And start to roll over your spine back and forth a couple times until you find a seated position. Amazing work, my friends. Thank you so much for flowing with me. Y'all are the best. I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. I post yoga classes, meditations, breath work. I also have Instagram and TikTok, so be sure to check that out. The link is in the bio. And I'll see you all in my next class.